Okay, let's look at this other cool concept in Python that I believe, I'm not sure which language was it, JavaScript or Python got it first. See, Python was kind of created in 1991, and I believe JavaScript was before then. I'm not sure what year JavaScript was invented. Let me see. JavaScript invention, invented date. When date was Java created? 1995. Wow, so Python was created before JavaScript. That means, see, I was wrong on that one. That means this Lambda function was part of, well, I'm not even sure, when the Lambda functions was part of Python when it first was created, right? Anyway, so what Lambda function is, let's just say you have, it's pretty cool. It's an anonymous function, an anonymous function, spelled this way, oh, not that. Anonymous. That means it doesn't have a proper function name and almost like a proper declaration, but it acts like a function, right? So what I can do here, I can simply say, let me call this f. F equals to, you got to have that keyword lambda. Spelling correct? Lambda, and it takes two, lambda functions takes two, the layout of lambda function is got two areas. The first part is the argument. I'm going to call it arg, right? Argument or parameter. Let's call it param for now, all right? And I just p, and the other side after colon is the return value. So in this case, it's going to p plus 45. It's going 35. It's going to return that, right? So right now, looking at this, what is the function name, right? The function name is actually f. So I'm going to say print, or let's do it, print, function name is f, and it takes in one parameter. How do we know? By looking at this p here, right? And let's just go with, I don't know, 35 minutes or 45, right? So running that should give us like 80 or something like that, right? 80 right there. So that is how Lambda function is. Now we can even increase this a little bit. And I said, that part is the parameter. And if that needs to take two parameters, I can say P1, P2, right? Parameter 1, I'm going to say parameter 1 plus parameter 2, and so forth, right? So running this, let's just see what happens. I need to fix that, right? But I haven't. So we just want to see what kind of error is going to give us, and there is going to give us an error, right? So 45, and I'm going to put here, I don't know, 20. I'm not even sure what it's going to give me, but hopefully it's the correct answer. All right. So now you see you can put two parameters, three parameters. That is simply the way it is. So why do we go outside our normal programming concept and use Lambda functions, right? And the reason is because sometimes you write code where you want you want the well, let me show an example here, right? So okay, so why do we use Lambda function? I'm going to show you. I'm going to take this out, and let's just say, so basically you want to create a list, right? And this list has got all the, how do I call this? List of odd numbers, right? And normally you would do something like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so forth, right? That would be one way to do it. And the other way, odd list, number 1, you can say, basically inside that list, I can say lambda, right? And I can simply say that argument coming in would be a number, right? And then basically what you're going to do is you're going to say arguments times how much are we doing? Let's just go 20, right? 20, and then you can say for x in range, I don't know, we want to go from 1 to 50, right? Let's just go all the way 50, right? So you watch what happens here, and then basically I can do something like print odd list, right? args times 20. So it's going to multiply that by 20 and go ahead and run this again. Okay, that's too long. All right, so let's go 1 by 20. All right, odd list. So, okay, so it's printing all the items in it, and I was hoping it'll just give me a shortcut way of doing it. So I'm going to say for I in odd list 1, all right, and then print I and with a space. All right, why on earth is it printing all the memory locations, right? So let me see. Okay, odd list lambda. That means I'm taking the argument as 1, all right, and basically, I mean as an n, and I'm basically multiplying that by 20. Let's just make it smaller. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't think so. In odd list 1 print. Yeah, looks good to me. Interesting stuff happening. Okay, interesting. I didn't even realize it, but it's right in front of me. So, I was looking at the result, right? It's saying function, list comp lambda is saying function, same thing. So it's giving me an address of a function. And then I realized, because this is, we are creating many lambda functions inside this list. So in order for me to call a function, I need to, each of these items that's looping through the list, I is a function. So now you got to put that bracket there, all right? That means it's going to call that individual functions. Each of these individual function will be called, and each one of them would return like a number or something like that, right? That is one way. The other example I want to give you is that I can call it, let's just go with minimum number. I can simply say lambda, it takes x and y, right? On the left side with a colon, then I'm going to say, x if x is less than y, all right? And then else y. Makes sense, right? Return x if x is less than y, else return y. And then here print minimum, I don't know, 6, 7, 6. So that should basically throw me a good 5. All right, you can do something like that. Many other uses of, you can use lambda functions. What else can I do? Oh, another one that's pretty neat, I think. Take this out for now. So let's just say you have a list of numbers, right? LST, and here I'm just going to put a whole bunch of numbers. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16, 29, and so forth, right? So you want to filter out, right? You want to remove all the, oops, there's a mistake here. You want to remove all the, let's just say you want to remove all the numbers that are less than 10, right? So the goal is to remove less than. I always get confused whether less than is with the en or whether less than is an an. I'm not sure. Let me just leave it like this. So what we're going to do here, we're going to say list 2 is equals to list LST, and in here, oops, I'm going to filter it out. And the way I'm going to filter it out, filter by applying a lambda, and here I'm going to say I as an item, right? I as an item, and then I can say, if the item is less than equal to 10 if the item is greater than 10, all right? Item is greater than 10. If not, go ahead and return LST. So that, well, let me see if it makes sense. Hold on. So I'm going to say print LST2, right? So Lambda, for each item, if return item greater than 10. All right, let's see what pops up. LST filter lambda I, right? That looks good. And then if I is greater than 10, remove all numbers less than 10. I see the problem. That is that list. You got to use the list method, right? You got to use the list method. And basically I'm saying filter out or maybe return everything that is greater than 10. So initially I had an LST, but that should be the list method. So that's a tricky one. Hitting it okay, and now you see it gives me something which is what I actually don't want to see, right? List method. So this is giving me that. That means that needs to be, since I'm using a list method, methods are always using a parenthesis, not a square bracket. So now you see that gives me that answer. So Lambda functions are used in that manner, right? You can quickly create a function and it's able to return what you need in almost like a one-liner, right? You don't have to write an additional function. So that is what basically the whole goal is with Lambda functions. All right, hopefully this helps.